Alright gang, welcome back to our Island Preservation Challenge on Ronida Island. It is November, and today is going to be an interesting day. We will see what we can get up to here. I don't know why I brought this over here when I know I needed to plow this up first, but whatever. We'll see what we can get up to today, because in the used market, there are, well, the one thing was already out there, I think, which is kind of carried over into this month. But the other thing that's out there is something that I think we desperately want to get. Just to help us progress a little bit more. It's something I've been talking about. I'm going to leave that as a tease for a second until we get the workers set up here, and then I will show you what that is. We've got a lot of things to sell today. I can sell some more clothes to be able to accomplish the things that I'm looking to do today, if at all possible. So we'll see how everything plays out here, but there's going to be a lot to do really today. I thought today wasn't going to be a ton to do, but when you actually think about it, we've got to plow up this field. Well, we got to plow up all the fields that we have oilseed radish in, right? This one specifically, and a small field up there, and then we got to re-drill them, obviously, and then we need to plow up that field over there. So there's a lot of plowing that has to happen today, and then obviously we got to get the stones and everything up too, right? So there's actually a lot to do, but we can do 2 episodes today. We don't necessarily have to do all of it in 1 episode, but we'll see where we get to. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. As far as today goes, this is the day after 4th of July at the time of this recording, so I know I probably said it in the other episodes, but I'm going to say it again here briefly. Very happy 4th of July to all of you, and I guess a very happy belated Canada Day to those of you in Canada, because Canada Day was only a couple days before 4th of July, so... Alright, get the right tractor here, Z. Okay, so, let's talk through what we've got here. I'm going to start like loading things up here to go and sell them, but let's talk through all the things we have. Oh, that invisible wall got me again. Let's talk through all the things we have here to sell, because we've got a decent amount here. Did we run out of water in the cricket farm? No, we didn't. It's just not didn't produce as many as I thought there was going to, but that's okay. So in the used market, there is a harvester. There's a harvester, gang. It's one of the larger Massey Fergusons. It's a pretty nice one, honestly. I think we need this. Personally, to progress the series more, I think we need this. This, I'm pretty sure, was there in the last episode. I would love to have it. I really would love to have it. Although, you know, we've got a JCB on the Triple Threat Challenge series, but that doesn't really make a difference. I would still love to have that. We would have to sell some stuff to get there, but I think it's doable. I think it's doable to do both, if I'm really honest with you. Now, what I mean by that is we're going to have to sell at least one of the tractors. I'm not sure which one I would sell. I kind of like the John Deere, so I'm probably thinking about the Fiat, but the Fiat's not worth as much money, right? So I think it's really going to depend on how much money we can get out of all the stuff that we have to sell today. Specifically, we've got all these eggs to sell. We have... the peas are finally going to be sold. I know that's been a running joke for everyone, but they're finally going to be sold today. I promise they're going to be sold today. The actual month moved a little bit once again. It really did. It actually is going to be better technically next month, but right now the price is better than what it's saying the average best price will be next month. So we're going to sell them. And then, you know, we've got lots and lots of clothes that have spawned over there. Now, as I mentioned before, the clothes, the price really isn't that great right now. So I really would love to not sell them, but I think there's probably a chance here, or there's a situation here where if we want to get that JCB and the harvester, we're going to have to do it. I'm not sure we're going to do that, though. I'm gonna put it that way. I'm not sure we're going to do that. I do want to look at the sorghum, though. The sorghum might actually be a decent price right now, too. So we'll take a peek at that and see. But we're going to get literally everything we can up here on the trailer here and sell it. So if we do have the option or the potential to buy the JCB, which, again, I'm saying I'm not quite sure that's going to happen. Well, I can tell you it won't happen unless we sell clothes. You know, I'd like to have the option, I guess, to get the JCB before it leaves the used market, right? If we're going to do that. Again, the actual priority is just the harvester, which we should be able to get the harvester with everything that we're selling right now, including the crickets, of course. Each of these pallets are going to be worth just slightly over $1,000 a piece, so there's about $9,000, or no, $6,000? I don't know. $6,000, I think, of peas here. And then you've got the eggs, which the eggs are starting to drop in price, so we need to get those sold pretty quickly, too. I'm going to leave enough room there, hopefully, that I can maneuver the forklift to put the crickets up there. So we'll leave enough room there to allow us to do that. let's look at clothes before we carry on here. As you can see, there's quite a few pallets of clothes over there, so we don't have to necessarily sell all of them, but you know, let's just take a peek and see. I'm pretty sure the price is terrible. It's not great. It really isn't. I mean, it's not terrible. I guess it's not terrible. 11,935 is the lowest. 13,375. So it's not as bad as it possibly could be, but honestly, that's a pretty significant loss, right? I don't know. I don't know if I want to lose $6,000 a pallet there. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's look at the fiat is worth right now in its current situation, its current standing, 29,152. Maybe we get 35 out of it, maybe. The John Deere, however, is worth, I don't know where I went there. I just got all over the place on the menu there. The John Deere, however, is worth 55,112 in its current state. It's only got 3% damage on it, though, whereas the Fiat has 26% damage. Maybe we get 57 out of it. Maybe, right? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think... I don't think there's going to be a way for us to get that tractor. As much as I would like to have it, I don't think there is. And honestly, I don't think it necessarily makes a whole lot of sense the more you think about it. I mean, would it be nice to have it? Absolutely, 100%. Would it be a huge workhorse for us? Yes. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just driving around in circles. Yes, it would be 100% a huge workhorse for us. But is it really necessary in the current situation that we're in? Probably not. Probably not, right? The money could probably be better utilized for that harvester. You know, I mean, obviously we're going to buy a head or two for it, right? Well, I guess what we can do, I mean, I was going to try to, you know, if I was going to sell the Fiat, I was going to go switch the tractors out really quick with the worker, right? But we're going to move more. But, I mean, I can just make a second trip, right? I don't necessarily have to do it all in one trip. Like, I was just trying to be work smarter, not harder kind of situation. But, I mean, I don't think I really have to do all of it in one trip, right? Okay, we are way off. I thought we were a lot closer than we were. Let's get closer there, Z. Come on, buddy. There we go. All right, let's back this up. This thing has been really handy, though, this little thing right here. Very inexpensive. It works well. Obviously, you have to have a low loading trailer like this, but otherwise it works really well. Can't really complain too much. Yeah, let's go sell these. Let's see what we get just from this, and then we'll make the decision, I guess, upon if we're going to do anything else. I don't think we will be, but, you know, we can make that decision, I guess, once we see how much money we get out of this, and then kind of go from there, right? So, in other words, let's take a step back here. I was really excited about the stuff in the used market. We got to get that field plowed up. We've got to get this field over here plowed up and put... okay, hold on a second. We got to put that field plowed up and get the stones up, and then we're going to put cotton back in that field. That's going to be another cotton field for the remainder of the series for the most part. We're going to get that field plowed up again. We're going to put oilseed radish in there. And then the field in the far, far, far distance over there by the crickets, we got to get that field plowed up, and then we got to put something in there. Now, I'm going to continue to keep that as, you know, our... what did I call it? I forget what I called it the other day. Whatever, regardless what I said, we're going to keep it as our play field where we utilize things that we know we're not going to be able to afford the harvester on or for a very, 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 very long time. So green beans, peas, you know, etc., spinach, etc., right? So I'm not sure what I'll put back in there. Maybe spinach, but I don't know. We'll figure that out. Now, there is hail in the forecast today. Hopefully it doesn't hit any of our fields. That would be wonderful if it didn't. But with our luck, it probably will. So 5,000 liters of eggs, 2,000 liters of crickets, 6,062 liters of peas. And we'll see what kind of money we get for all this. All right, that got us to 69,563. So absolutely 100% enough money to buy the harvester. And I think we should just go ahead and do that now. That is one of the main things we wanted to do, right? So let's do that, and then we're going to basically have no money at all. So being able to buy that tractor is pretty much not going to be possible without the clothes, like I mentioned, right? If I sell the clothes, then that's one thing. One thing I did not check, even though I said I was going to do it at the beginning of the episode, I'm sure somebody already yelled at me about it, was the sorghum. I said I was going to check the sorghum. I didn't do it. Sorghum is normally like December. Yeah, the price isn't terrible. We could sell the sorghum too, but it's not going to be able to make us get that tractor, right? The only thing that's going to be able to make us get that tractor is the clothes, right? And you know, if we buy this harvester, which we're going to do right now, we're going to need essentially how much was that tractor? 89, 87. So at least 7 of them. It's probably 6 of them that we would need, right? And that's pretty much all that we have in there. There's a little bit more cotton in there that it's still chewing through. I think it's about 6,000 liters still in there. Man, it would be nice to have that. I just think, and I understand recently I've done some stuff to take a step backwards. I understand that, right? I spent money on looks and things like that. I understand that. But that is a significant amount more money than I spent before, right? I spent about 16,000, something like that on in total before. That's a lot more than that, right? So that would put us really far behind again, just because we want to upgrade to a nicer tractor. So we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. I'm making the decision right now. All right, which tires do we want here? Do we want the Continentals, the Vertesteins, or the Trelleborgs? Oh, the Trelleborgs look a little more chunky, and you guys know I like the chunky tires, so we're going to go with that. Now, the thing about this is we don't have a harvester header with it, right? We're just buying the harvester outright. 57,000. Why is it 57,000? It said it was more in there. Or maybe it was 57,000. Was it 57,000? It was 57,000. All right. I thought it was more than that for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. No, not back only. We want this off completely. All right, let's buy it. All right, so we're going to try to put this on the flatbed here. I need to service this harvester first, though, before we take it back. And that's going to take up probably a good chunk of money. I would suspect that this is going to be a very, very expensive service. But we have a header now. We have a header. We have a harvester now. I'm very excited about that, man. This is a huge step. A huge step. $2,254. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. I was thinking more along the lanes of 5,000, maybe even 6,000. So it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. Still not great. Still very expensive. But it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Now this may not work. I don't know if that's going to work or not. That tire is still on the ground. Are we lifting that up? I don't think that's up in the air. Might just have to drive this thing. I was going to try to make my life a little easier, but I may have to drive this thing. Now, what I'm trying to get at with the tractor here, and what I was trying to do the math on, 87,000, if I sell one of them, if I sell the Fiat, we're going to get 30-something thousand back in the bank, right? So you take that 30-something thousand back in the bank off the 87,000. You know, you're still looking at $50-something thousand, right? So that's why I'm saying you probably need 6. Well, actually, you're going to need less than that. They were worth more than 1,000, 10,000 a piece, right? Yeah, 13,399. They're going up, so they are worth more than that. So I guess it would be a little less than that. Maybe it would be worth it. I don't know. You guys know I love upgrading tractors. I don't like sticking with one tractor for too long. 1, the maintenance on it becomes a nightmare. Now 2, that is a used tractor, so the maintenance is already going to be bad on it. Right? but that's okay. This thing is a beast, man. It's a behemoth. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. We're actually going to be able to start utilizing the palletizer now, gang. Like, we put some sunflowers in there to kind of test it out, right? But we're actually going to be able to put some sunflowers in, or some sunflowers, put some actual crop in the palletizer now. This is great, man. This is awesome. This is good, good, good. All right, so let's lower this back down. Unhook all of that. Jump into the harvester here. Turn it back on. And away we go. Just like that. Now this, in theory, should fit in our shed over here that we haven't done anything with. And this is really where I wanted to put a piece of equipment like this. Something where it's definitely going to be used, but it's not going to be used as much as some of the other equipment, right? It'll be used during harvest season, and then it really isn't going to be used at all until next season, right? So, in this instance, though, we don't really have seasons on, but you get what I mean. And for us, we're going pretty heavy on the cotton, right? So, perfect. Look at that thing. Fits in there like a glove, man. It looks great, too. Not a whole lot of paint damage to it, which I was actually expecting a lot of paint damage to it, but there's not really a ton. There's a little bit here and there, but it's not much. Okay, enough mitery in the harvester. Let's go, Z. Come on. Okay, so we need to get started on all this other stuff. Now, the problem here is that we don't really have another plow, right? We've only got one plow. So, what needs to happen is we need to get that field finished plowing, and then we can kind of drill that field. So the worker should be getting close, I hope, to being done. And if so, then we'll put the worker on doing plowing of another field, and we'll start getting the rocks up, or the stones up, and then we can start plowing that, or start drilling that field. Excuse me. I'm just saying all the words wrong today, aren't I? It happens, man. It happens. All right, we got a couple pallets here of wool, so let's do that. A couple other things. Recently, I was watching. I don't know if I mentioned it on this channel. I think it was this channel. I think it was the other episode. I can't talk today at all, gang. No matter what I'm saying it wrong. I think it was the other series, the Triple Threat Challenge, that I brought this up. But the other day I was watching Daggerwin, who everyone pretty much knows, right? He put out a video on things that, you know, want to see for the next iteration of Farming Simulator. I know that's far off probably, but you get with the point. He put that out there. There was a couple of things. One, I brought up on that Triple Threat Challenge series where, you know, want to have some of the maps feel more alive, right? There's actual farmers farming the land, right? It's not just you only farming. Of course, there's cars driving around, but there's nobody actually farming any fields. Like, that is something that we want to see. And I'm 100% on board for that. One of the other things that came up was about animals, and more specifically around the fact that you know, the animals are kind of, there's not a whole lot really of work that you have to do for the animals. Now, certainly, you know, the cows have a lot more work to them, pigs have a lot more work to them, but, you know, sheep and chickens, for that matter, you really don't do anything. You just give them food, and then out pops pallets, right? You know, it would be nice if we expanded a little bit on the animals to have the ability where, you know, there just be a function where you could turn it on and off, because I know not everyone is going to want to do this, but I totally get where they were going. And, you know, maybe you have a situation where you have to go in there and you have to shear the sheep, right? You've got to actually take the wool off of the sheep, right? I think that would be a good thing to add into the series, right? Another thing was like a campaign type of playthrough, or a story mode, if you will, which I also think is a good thing to have, right? We've been all kind of creating our own story missions to an extent, right? But I think it would be nice to be able to have something like that, right? Where you're going to play through an actual story mode of Farming Simulator. So, like, you know, they've got these videos of the dad and the daughter kind of thing, right? Carry that story on and put it into the actual game. Let us play some kind of a story. It doesn't have to be a long story, but let us play some kind of a story with that, right? I don't know. That's just It just would be nice to have something like that in the new iteration, right? We've got enough Farming Simulator games out now that I feel like that's what we should be striving for at this point, is we need to have more to the game. And I don't necessarily mean more equipment and things like that. I would love it, of course, but I mean more from the actual game itself. The game mechanics should be able to produce more than they have at this point, right? I feel like Giants has made enough money with how popular this game is and how many people play it that, you know, it's time for them to actually start putting in the money to do something like that. Now, the argument would be, well, we might not get our money back for that. I kind of get that. I do. But, you know, all these options that he came up with, or, well, I guess it's options that, you know, his members kind of came up with more than anything, right? He asked them what they wanted to see, and then he basically did like a top 10 list of well, you know, what everyone kind of voted for, if you will. You know, they don't necessarily have to do every single one of these options. Just pick one and expand it and make it better, right? And then you can continue to do that as you move along, right? Maybe you do a DLC with something that's smaller, right? I don't know. But it just feels like that is the next step. You know, that's where we need to be next, is that they should be, you know, striving to get that. Just food for thought. Just food for thought there. But that's what I would love to see. And I've also said before, because I kind of came up with my own video before this game came out of some things I wanted to see. Some of mine were pretty basic and simple, but they didn't do them, right? We don't have ducks. There's some maps that have ducks incorporated in them, but we don't have ducks. Like, that should be a pretty simple thing, right? You just take the chickens and overlay a duck on it. Like, it's super simple to do that. We don't have that, right? If it's me personally, of all the things I just mentioned, and that's not everything, of course, because I said there was 10, right? And I've really only mentioned 3. If it was me personally, the thing I'd want to see more than anything would be actual live farms, where we've got other farmers working fields. Fields I don't own, there's a farmer in there working it. When it's time to harvest, you can see a harvester out there harvesting the field. When it's time to drill it, you see it, you know, somebody out there drilling it, etc., 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 right? That's what I want to see more than anything. So if they can figure out a way to do that, and I'm sure it's probably going to be more difficult than I might think it would be. I know it's going to be more difficult than I might think it would be. I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to get the stones up, don't I? I guess I can get the stones up after I drill it, but it would not be as good for the piece of equipment if I do that, though, right? So let's get the stones up. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, I know for a fact it's probably going to be more difficult than I'm making it out to be here, but if they can figure out a way to do that, though, that would be very, very cool. I really, really think that would be awesome. Quality of life stuff is definitely going to be good, and that would be probably more than a quality of life item, but I just think it would bring so much more to the games and make them feel more alive, right? Now that you have the GPS kind of that kind of stuff set up, I feel like there's a chance they could continue to expand on that, and utilize that for workers, right? Now, I think the problem is going to become what they'd have to do. This is my opinion. What they would have to do is, if somebody decided to modify a field at all, or like a map like this, it wouldn't work, right? But if somebody decided they wanted to modify a field, I guess I can't pick these up now that it's already drilled. All right, well, whatever. You would have to have something that, you know, some kind of a flag that says, all right, well, I can't, I'm not able to have whoever it is work this field, right? Whoever the computer, right? I'm not able to have the AI work this field because it's been modified from the initial field size or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be a problem at all. I don't know. I just feel like that might cause an issue, and that may be the reason why they're doing that. Also, I don't know how they would incorporate it, with... No, stop. I don't know how they would incorporate it with, mod maps, right? I mean, I guess it would be the same way, really, but I can just see that maybe it would be a little more difficult with modded maps, because then you're having to go in there and you're having to, instead of just checking everything and making sure, you know, it's up to snuff like they do now, really. I know they do more than that. I know they do more than that. Just bear with me. But, you know, they would have to go in there and actually do some personal code themselves into it to make that work, I would feel like. But maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they wouldn't. I guess maybe they could build the mod, the map-making mod type of stuff. I guess they could build it into that where, you know, there's restrictions on it for whoever's creating the map, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot to think about on that, though. There's a lot to unpack in that discussion there, but that would be definitely the one that I would love to see more than anything, would be real, live, living farms, right? And it really doesn't have to be perfect. It really does not have to be perfect. As long as there's some kind of a attempt there to make it seem like there's a worker working that field, or there's a farmer working that field in this instance, right? That's not your own fields. I just think that would do so much for the game. It would do so much for role-playing type of stuff. It would do so much for a lot of things, man. It really would. You guys let me ramble on for 26 minutes? Man, I cannot believe I was just talking for 26 minutes. That does not feel like I just talked for 26 minutes. I'm going to be honest with you. It does not feel like that. Wow, that was a long time. All right, well, I'm going to give myself a break because clearly I need it. I was wondering why my throat was getting so parched, but clearly I need it, and you probably do too. So let's, you know what we got to do? We got to get this field, the rocks up, get it drilled. Got the worker all doing the plowing over there. When all that's said and done, we can get the wheat field over here plowed up and, you know, get to work. I'm obviously not going to be able to get all of that done here, but let's just see what we can get done. All right, well, we are cruising along here. We still got a long, long way to go on this field. As a matter of fact, the wheat field over there, well, what's likely going to be another wheat field, I should say, what was the wheat field. And then our our green beans, peas, or spinach field, or whatever else we decide to put in there. Those I'm going to hold off and not drill those until the next episode, really the next month. I think we'll just get the rest of this field kind of finished up, and then for the next episode, we'll jump to December, which will be good for us. More things potentially for us to sell in December, which will be nice. Quick auto save here. Yeah, clothes are still going up, which is great. We've got, let's see, let's take a look here. How's the growth looking? Yeah, we won't have anything ready to harvest next month, so it'll probably be good for us to hold off on these two fields, because that'll give us something else to do. I'm sure we'll find more things to do when we're selling all that stuff, of course, but yeah. Nothing in the used market, so I can't buy it anymore even if I wanted to, so we can just get that one out of sight. Wasn't going to do it, as I kind of went back and forth on it a couple of times, you know, wavering on if it was smart or not. But now there's no chance for me to do it anymore. Now, this is one of our bigger cotton fields, right? This is a large, large field here, so you could argue it's slightly, well, it might be the same. Well, no, this is probably bigger. But anyway, it's still a very, very large cotton field, right? So we've got quite a few cotton fields, as a matter of fact. Now we're going to have 4 cotton fields. We've got the knife cotton field, then our coastal cotton field as I initially started. And then we've got this one down here. We made cotton as well, right? So this is our wheat field. We're going to put another wheat or barley field in here. Just depends on which one we decide to do. And then, as we talked about already, that's going to be more of our experimental type of field. But really, it's just a field we're going to put in crops that we normally would not be able to do because the harvesters are just too damn expensive. Now, having said all that, and I know I've mentioned this in the past, but in case you stumbled across this, I fully am aware that the cotton harvester that we need to get soon is just as expensive. Fully aware of that, but we're going pretty heavy on the cotton, so in essence, it's going to be worth the money when the time comes, right? All those clothes we're making, it's only going to help us get there. Now, realistically, we need to get some kind of a fabric production going so we can put some of the wool and cotton in there, turn it into fabric, and then turn the fabric into clothes. Make a small amount extra due to that, right? So we do need to get that whole process going, but that is in the distant future, really, for us right now. We've got some more important fish to fry right now versus doing that. But yeah, we're cruising, man. Things are going well here. I know we just did a long time lapse. I rambled for 20-something, 26 minutes, whatever I said it was. It was insane. So we'll get back into this. We'll get this done. And yeah, we'll see where we're at from that point. All right, we are all pretty much, well, I say all done. We're pretty much done here, gang. We've just got this last little strip here, and we're all done. But so are we for the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash the like, subscribe button on the case you've yet to do so. They are free to do. It helps me out an absolute ton. Thanks to my members for all of their continued support. There is a link down below if you want early access to videos like this one. Make sure you check out the second channel. Make sure you check out the Discord. All that stuff is down below. as with everything, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for your continued support. As always, it really does mean the world to me. And I'll see you next time.